Yo, dudes. So I'm back. Just did a couple matches of Tower Defense Simulator with the kiddo. Anyway, so I was thinking about it. I figured it out. I figured out what a good approach is. So I'll just mention it real quick. I'll probably go back upstairs and code off stream a little bit, but but it's pretty. I think there's a super elegant approach. Yeah. So we're doing all this nonsense, right? So let me just get diff. What is it? All this craziness, all this nonsense, all this blah 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 blah. I think I'll just nix all of this. So I'm not gonna commit any of this. This was just tinkering to figure out what was going on. Let's stash that. But okay, now let's talk about what the approach is. So the problem fundamentally is this visit, this is one of the insertion points that we override in order to gain control of Mypy, so we could use the innards of Mypy as a library, so that we can get the static analyses we want, the type checking analysis, and then imbue our JackAST with those analyses, the results of those analyses. So yeah, okay, so this is a hook point. This is where Mypy, this particular class, AST converter, is where Mypy actually takes a Python AST and turns it into a Mypy set of nodes, interconnected nodes with special nodes for type information, etc., and special, simple table objects and so forth for type. So it's all good. So this is where we push the PyAST in, and we gain control here to do a couple things, but really one of the things that it does is that it creates the association between. So a JackAST node is associated with a Python AST node, and that Python AST node is then associated with a Mypy AST node, and they're all associated with each other. So from the JackAST node, you can access the various other nodes. This is useful for passes that may move information from Python's IR, from Mypy's IR into JackAST IR, which is the type fuse, the fuse type info pass, right? So that's why we do that. And I thought that this visit would touch every node in the Python AST, and that would be a singular hook function I could put this kind of association logic in, but that's actually wrong. Visit is kind of like an entry point for which some parts of the AST will be processed with other functions in this AST converter. And then I was kind of looking at it upstairs and observed that really I can just use the return types here. It may be the case that every method that starts with either a visit or a translate may have to be overridden. I can use super to maintain original functionality, and then based on what's returned, I can take advantage of that return that is annotated on the function to then do the association on all the relevant data in that return. I think that'll be better. I think that'll give us coverage, and it'll be maintainable and readable and clean and all the things that I would love this to be, right? So I think that's a solution technique. Visit is actually kind of like an interesting introspecty. Where is visit? Visit introspecty function, self.visit here. And it returns any. We're in AST converter. It returns any. It's a yucky place to have an elegant, maintainable, readable approach to doing this kind of lifting, or let's say associating of information, right? So not as great. And this is what we're overriding now. So, but what's better than that is there's actually the individual visits, right? Visit module, and then it returns a type that we can reason about. And then we've got visit. There's 95 of these. We've got visit function def, which returns something that we can reason about, right? And then so we can reason about these returns properly from visits, and there's also translate. So there's visit, and then there's translate whatever, right? Let's do a def in front of that so we can search and just see. So translate also gives us kind kind of type information we can reason about. We can understand what the node it's getting from from Python is, and these nodes, when we pass them in, will have the jack links, right? So we can reason about the input types and the output types on these translate functions. So what I expect to be the case is we can override all of these translate and visit functions to have a super of the original, and then do our, assign it to some variable, and then do our association, and then we'd be in a good spot. So I mean, it's a lot of lines of code to write. Hopefully, the Jippity is going to help automate some of that to increase productivity, but I think that's the most readable and kind of future scalable, especially as Mypy evolves in its versioning and Python's AST evolves in its versioning once a year. We'd be able to easily maintain that piece of that approach to doing this without doing anything cockamamie. Anyway, so I'm gonna take that approach, and I'm going to do that off stream, and we'll take it from there. Awesome. Just wanted to give you the update so you can kind of understand where we landed on the solution to this darn thing. Cool, guys. All right. Well, with that, we'll chat soon. Peace.